Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and the project that I'm working on now is making the wood underliner that you're gonna see when you go to the Mexican restaurant and you order fajitas, and that cast iron griddle comes out so hot that it's impossible to touch that. But there's always a piece of wood the griddle sits on. So what we're making actually is 50 of those underliners. So let's just take it out and let's take a look at it. You know, and upon first blush, everything looks really great. Obviously, I'll be very interested to see what it looks like down at the far end. But I think we're just going into production at this point. I have to check the ball bit to see what the deal is with that. It's not perfectly flush, but it's certainly agreeable. So it's going to be a matter of sanding the remnants, the artifacts of the tabs. Not much there. What's new on this model is we've chamfered that top edge. And it's definitely too small to see. And I'm not going to change that chamfer at all that we've done on here. But just breaking of that edge a little bit and just a wipe around with abrasive, I think is going to fix that right up. I've got some wood filler for areas that are going to be really awful. I don't know that that qualifies to me as really awful. You know, the edges seem fine. A little bit of sanding. I'm not in love with the quality of this plywood, but at the end of the day, it's plywood. You can definitely see here that we broke that edge. I won't make it any deeper. I just don't see a reason to do that. Okay, so let's set the camera up and see what this looks like when I pull it off to see how loose everything is. What I'm trying to say is, as I pull the sheet off, I might break them loose and then just take these parts and just throw them in the garbage right at this point. Or I might take the entire sheet off and give it to finishing and say, okay, take it from here. So we're going to see what this looks like right now. And there's a broken tab there. That piece is obviously going to fall out. I would expect it, but it's going to fall out for sure. I don't obviously want that. There it goes. Okay, not the end of the world. Yeah, we're going to snap these out. Okay, that's fine. So we know what we're going to do. We're going to break them loose as they're coming off, which really means I think our tabs can even be a little bit smaller. Actually, I'm going to leave the tabs. It didn't take much to break that loose is what I'm driving at. A little bit of tweak and it comes right out, so I don't think I'll make that any easier to come out. And I'm going to want to be able to take these pieces and break them off as I'm coming through. So subsequent tool paths are going to have a lot more happening here, that's for sure. Because I want to be able to take these parts and snap them right into the garbage. All right, we've got them all out. Yeah, I'm going to want to take and get rid of this, do some other tool pathing in the sense that I might really get through the majority of this so I can just snap it in half. We'll make some better decisions. Maybe the idea is to pull these out while it's still laying flat without pulling the board off the end of the tool. And I think maybe cutting those circles into this is unimportant because there's still a lot of wood there. I mean, that's pretty strong. I mean, it broke by hitting it, but I want to make it a big deal. Okay, so let's put this aside. Let's take a look at our yield here. Yeah, this is all ready for sanding. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're simply going to stack these over. I'm going to get the next sheet up and running. Let's do this as well. You can see where our x-axis gap changed by the additional routing that's gone into the spoil board. I think I'm too heavy. I'm going to back that off. There's just no reason to go deeper than necessary. Yeah, this is the new channel over here. Yeah, there's not much to this. It's 30 thousandths. The old channel, yeah, it was 35 thousandths. I'm gonna take that down another 5 thousandths. Yeah, I'm just making a note for myself. I'm reducing that. Working the skeleton down so that there's less here, so it goes into the garbage easier. Now, that's a lot of wood to try to cut, so we're gonna do something about that for sure. Maybe what we end up doing is figuring out where to position the clamps, especially in the middle, so that I'm here and not here, because I will come in and cut that. So, pieces on the table, the underliners get pulled off. They just get pulled up and snapped out, hopefully. This is left over, and then run the disintegration tool path to get rid of the rest of the wood into digestible pieces will be the idea. The problem with that is we're going to have to go in only so far that we can actually just snap the material in half. So if this is 0.73, we'll probably go down 0.7. We'll try that. Okay, I'm going to stack these parts. The next camera view we're going to have is going to be a switch to the screen view and see what final tweaks we'll make. Then we're going to go to this overhead view and we're just going to run the next sheet for the next 5 hours.
If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video.
Okay, so now we enter the third and final sheet because we'll have 19 times 2, and I've already got 16, 15 done for sure. Last sheet. So the tweaks that we're going to make is going to be on the final profile on bottoms. I want to take it back another 50,000. So 025. So hopefully that gets us all the way through. I believe that it still will. I never like changing something without reviewing to make sure that it's all still here. Not going to make any changes to that, taking it down 50 thousandths. Same bit, number 4 on the outside of the line. Tabs, I'm going to leave right where they were. We're going through shallower. That should pick up. No, I don't believe it'll change the thickness of the tab. I think it's probably calculating that. I think what I'll do is, since we're going to snap these pieces off on the machine, let's make that a 1/4 and see what happens on the length. Calculate that. Okay, so we're good. And realistically, I still think that 150 thousandths is actually still too much to go through. So we had that change. I've got a note here to increase this by 50 thousandths. And that's really for the purpose only of balancing it out on the sheet. It's going to be imperceptible, which probably doesn't help what I want to do in terms of easily breaking the material up. But nonetheless, we've made that modification. It should be 0.75. Okay, that's good. Now the dimension here and here is going to be exquisitely balanced, or, good enough. Now, we are going to run a logo on here on one of these. And I'm going to make that 075. I'm going to put the logo on one of these, just to see how that looks, and also to serve it to send it to the client to say, hey, you can put a logo on these. And that concludes all of the notes that I had on this modification. So at this point, I am going to simply, it'll be silent as I gaze at all of these tool paths. I feel it necessary to check them And obviously the first thing we're going to do is run that reference point file to get our dowels put in place. We have to turn the vacuums on. We have to do a C2. We have to put our reference dowels, and then we just enter, enter, start, enter.
If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video.
So let's see if we get in there a little bit better.
Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.